Most developers treat the Cloud folder like a black box. They know it exists, they've seen it appear in their project root, but they never open it actually. I was one of them. And then I realized this folder is literally the control center for how Claude Code behaves in your project. Your instructions, your custom comments, your permission rules, even Claude's memory across all of your sessions. It all lives there. And once you understand what goes where, you stop correcting Claude and start actually working with it. Let's take a look on this folder. Hi there, welcome on my channel. If you are new here, my name is Daniel Noworyta and I'm a software developer, and on this channel I show strategies and tools useful for learning programming and developing your career in the IT industry, in this whole AI era right now. Today we are going to break down the .claude folder step by step. We will see what each file does, why it matters, and how to set it up properly, whether you are working solo or in a team. So let's dive in. So before we open anything, there's one thing you need to know up front. There are actually two .claude directories, not one, two. So the first one lives inside your project root. This is the team configuration, so you commit this to Git. Everyone on the team gets the same rules, the same commands, the same permission policies, I would say. And there is also second one. Second one lives in your home directory, and this is your personal space, your global preferences, your session history, your auto memory, stuff like this. So please bear in mind, always keep this in your head, that there are always minimum two .claude folders within your system, one which is living in your project and one which is living globally on your system, on your home directory. And this distinction matters because project level config is for the team. Your commit it to Git normally, yes? And global config is just for you. If you mix those up, you end up accidentally pushing personal preferences to the repo or wondering why your college Claude behaves completely differently from yours. So please think of it this way. Project level is shared, global is personal. Simple as that. Now let's talk about the single most important file in the entire system. CLAUDE.md. When you start a Claude Code session, the first thing it reads is CLAUDE.md. It loads it straight into the context window and keeps it in mind of the entire conversation. Simply put, whatever you write in CLAUDE.md, Claude will follow. If you tell Claude to always write tests before implementation, it will. If you say never use console.log for error handling, always use the custom logger module, it will respect that every time. Yes. Now you can actually have multiple CLAUDE.md files. Let's see this hierarchy here. You have CLAUDE.md file in global, which applies to all of your projects. You have like one CLAUDE.md on project root. It's like team-wide, committed to Git. And you have also one for subdirectory, which is applying only for folder-specific rules here. And Claude reads all of them and combines them together. So your global file might say, I prefer functional patterns over classes, let's say. Yeah? Your project file says, we use Express with Prisma. And your subdirectory file adds specific rules for that part of the code base. And they all stack upon on each other. There's the thing most people get wrong, in my opinion. They either write too much or too little. The official docs are very clear here, and we should keep our CLAUDE.md files under 200 lines. Files longer than that start eating too much context, and Claude's instruction adherence actually drops. Yes, more instructions can mean actually worse results for you. So here's what actually belongs in CLAUDE.md file. Let me show a minimal but effective example how I am currently using CLAUDE.md in my project. And as you can see, there's like 21 lines, and it gives Claude everything it needs to work productively in this code base here without constantly asking me for clarification. So we have here like build commands, architecture decisions, and non-obvious gotchas, naming conventions, and that's the stuff which I'm trying to always add to my CLAUDE.md files. What we shouldn't put here, I think anything that belongs in a linter or formatter logic, this should not be put here. It should happen automatically on each check of the code. Full documentation you can already link to, yes? So long paragraphs explaining theory, this is also not needed here, yeah? Claude doesn't need your life story. It needs the things it can't figure out by reading the code himself. And one more thing, you can use this add import syntax to pull in additional files. So instead of dumping your entire README into CLAUDE.md, you just reference it, yes? So instead of dumping everything about content, I'm just referencing another file. And Claude expands those imports at launch, so you keep your CLAUDE.md lean, but still give Claude access to everything it needs. One pro tip from me here, you can also run /init inside your Claude Code. It will generate a starter CLAUDE.md file by analyzing your project. He will detect your build system, test framework, code patterns which you are using within your project, and then you can just refine it. This would be like, I think, much faster than writing it from scratch by yourself. Start using /init command. It's not perfect yet though, but I think after some tweaks you can get pretty nice results also after this auto-generated CLAUDE.md files within your projects. And sometimes you have a preference that's specific to you, not the whole team. Maybe you prefer a different test runner, or maybe you want Claude to always explain its reasoning before writing code. Maybe you have a specific way you like your imports organized. It all belongs to you, to your way of working, to your way of writing code. And I think that's what CLAUDE.local.md is for. So create it alongside your root next to CLAUDE.md file, and Claude reads it alongside the main CLAUDE.md. So create it manually and add it to git ignore, so your personal tweaks never land in the repo. Yes, and this is actually, I think, really important for teams, because your teammate might want verbose explanations or something like this from code. You might want Claude to be like more concise and just give you the code, and by using those CLAUDE.local.md, both of you can customize without stepping on each other. I think this is really crucial and really important stuff. Please remember, try to add those CLAUDE.local.md files always to git ignore, that you will not commit it to the shared team repo. Now CLAUDE.md file works great when you have one project and a few conventions, but once your project grows or you are working in a mono repo with multiple teams, you probably will end up with a 300-line CLAUDE.md file, and that nobody maintains and everyone actually ignores. The rules folder solves exactly that problem. So every markdown file inside .claude/rules folder gets loaded alongside your CLAUDE.md automatically. So instead of one giant file, you can split instructions by concerns. In this case, so the team member who owns API conventions can edit API/conventions.md. The person who owns the testing standards edits testing.md, and in that way nobody stomps on each other. But there is where it gets really powerful, because you probably think like, yeah, Daniel, but it's again, like we're creating a lot of files, a lot of instructions, all of them are loaded at once. Not really, because you can scope rules to specific file paths using YAML formatter way. Let me show it. So you can see we have here some rules, API design rules, that all handlers return data in error shape. We are using Zod for request body validation and never expose internal error details to clients. And Claude won't load this file when you are editing a React component. It only activates when Claude is working with files that match those paths, which you can see at the top here. So src/API, TS files, and src/handler/TS files. So rules without a paths field, they load unconditionally. So every session the rules will be loaded. But rules with paths only trigger when they are relevant. So this is only like way how you can scope rules per folders, per areas of your app on which you are working for. And I think this is the right pattern once your CLAUDE.md starts feeling crowded. You can like specify the rules only for specified part of your application, of your code base. And I think of it as a breaking a monolith config into microservices. I'm thinking about this like that. So each rules file stays focused on, and I think if each rule file is focused, then it's also automatically easy to maintain by someone in your team. And also, what worth mentioning, rules directory support symlinks too. So you can maintain a shared set of rules and link them into multiple projects, which is really handy for monorepos. Out of the box, Claude Code has built-in / commands like /help and /compact, but the commands folder lets you create your own commands, and this is where things get really practical, I would say. So every markdown file you drop into .claude/commands becomes a / command within your Claude Code. The file name is the command name, so you can run them like /review, /fixed issue in this case, or /deploy. And let me now show you a real example how you could use /command to build command for reviewing your code. So I have here review.md file, and what is happening here? First we put in description, so review the current branch div for issues before merging. And what happens here? This exclamation mark backtick syntax, that's the key here, because we are running the shell command and injects the output into the prompt before Claude even sees this. So this way we are able to see the difference which was made within this branch, and we can put in the context for Claude to see the diff, what is happening here, yes? And when I type /review, in this case, Claude automatically gets the real git diff fed into the conversation. So that's what makes those commands genuinely useful instead of just saved text. You can also pass arguments using like arguments as a placeholder here, but in this case we are just using diff main head, and we're giving instruction to the Claude Code to make like review the above changes for code quality issues, security vulnerabilities, missing test coverage, performance concerns. You could also use here like a agents team to do review in parallel for each of those points. I'm also often really doing this. So, and at the end, you can get specific actionable feedback per each file which was changed within your branch. In that case, you are making sure that the code which you are pushing to the main repository, it's safe and other people in your team can actually take a look on it. So now project commands in .claude/commands folder are committed and shared with your team. But for commands you want everywhere, regardless of which project you are in, just put them in your home directory .claude/commands folder, and those will show up as user command instead of project command. So you will be able to use them all over the place. I have probably also a few of them. I have one for reviewing my code, for testing my code. So what are good personal commands? You would ask. In my opinion, I think things like a daily stand-up helpers or commit message generators that follows Teams convention or your convention, however you work, a quick security scan for your codes. I mean, things you do in every project. Yeah, so one pro tip from me, commands and skills are the same mechanism. So for new workflows, please use skills. Plus of the skills is also you can bundle supporting files. Yeah, so I think more about skills we will talk in second part of this video. Today I just wanted to stay on the ground and scratch the surface by telling you only about the commands. But please remember, similar mechanism is also by using skills in Claude Code. So the last piece for today is settings.json file, which controls what Claude is and isn't allowed to do, which tools it can run, which files it can read, and whether it needs to ask you before running certain commands. I think settings.json, not many people are using this correctly, but I think it's really powerful if you will set it up correctly for yourself. So let's switch to the screen. I will show you an example of one of my settings.json files. So let me break this down. The Allowlist, those are commands that run without Claude asking for confirmation. So your npm scripts, git status, git diff, file reading and writing, the things you want Claude to just do without bothering you every time. The denylist, which is here right below, that's the hard block for Claude. So here I always try to put destructive shell commands like rm-rf or direct network commands like curl or sensitive files like .env and anything in your secrets folder, let's say. These are blocked entirely no matter what happens for Claude. So, and anything that it's not in either list, Claude will ask you before proceeding. So that middle ground is intentional. It's a safety net without you having to anticipate every possible command prompt. And the schema line at the top, which you can see here, please always include it. It gives you autocomplete and validation VS Code or cursor. So in this case, when I would like to add additional properties here, you see, I can see what kind of properties I can use and what they are doing. Actually, documentation is really well made by Anthropic team. So please use this schema file whenever you're using settings.json file in your project. And in this case, just like CLAUDE.local.md, you also have settings.local.json for personal permission overrides that you don't want committed. Yes, so if you have like some personal permission overrides, you could put them also in settings.local.json file. The same pattern, team settings, please commit them within the repo. Personal settings, put them in git ignored. That's the safest way. There's also hierarchy how to settings get applied. Organization policies override project settings, which override personal settings. So if your company has managed policies, those always win in this case. But for most of us working in smaller teams, the project settings JSON file is the main one you should care about. So let me pull all together. Here's the complete anatomy of what we covered today. That was the first part of the video. In the second part, we will talk more about skills and agents. But what you can see in the screen, we have CLAUDE.md. This is like team instructions. We should always commit them within the repository. CLAUDE.local.md, those are our personal overrides. We should put them in git ignore and ignore them. In .claude and settings.json, there are like permissions plus config. We should also commit them because those are global ones for team. But settings.local.json, we should add them to git ignore and never commit them within our repository. Those are like local settings, local preferences. We have also commands and rules. Commands, those are like those custom / commands. We can build them for reviewing the project, fixing issues, deploying, naming conventions. So those could be like shared. We have also rules, which we should also put in our repository. So we can put there like code guidelines, testing guidelines, API conventions, and also please don't forget on your MacBook or Windows machine on home folder you have .claude also with your CLAUDE.md settings and settings.json. Sorry, this is a mistake here. Commands. So you have also projects and commands in your home directory. This is staying on your laptop, on your machine. Those are your personal preferences which will be used globally in your system when you're using Claude Code. In whatever project you are using Claude Claude Code, those global preferences will be also applied. So that was the full structure. If you're starting from scratch, here's the progression I would recommend you. Step 1, try to run /init inside Claude Code. It generates a starter CLAUDE.md file by reading your project. So it should detect your build project, detect your test framework, everything what is related to the code base. Then try to edit it down to the essentials, so under 200 lines. Remember, please, CLAUDE.md root file within your project should not be big because it's loaded on every conversation, and it can also misalign LLM models within the task. Step 2, I would recommend to add .claude/settings.json with allow and deny rules appropriate for your stack. So at minimum, allow you run commands and deny .env reads. So this should be a minimum for each project. Each other rules should be set up accordingly within your team, within your own preferences. Step 3, please try create 1 or 2 commands for the workflows you repeat most. So in my opinion, code review and issue fixing are great starting points, and put them in .claude/commands that they will be committed within the team repository. If the team is not aligning with you, please keep them privately and use those commands just for yourself. And step 4, as your project grows and your Claude.md file gets crowded, start splitting instructions into .claude/rules files. So, and also try to scope them by path where it makes sense within your repository. And last step, number 5, I would add global Claude.md with your personal preferences. So in your home folder, .claude folder, add your Claude.md, and this would be preferences that apply across all of your projects. So maybe your preferred coding style, maybe your preferred patterns, things that are about you, not about any specific project. You could also use those things in your favor. And I think that's genuinely all you need for 95% of projects. If I missed something, please comment, leave a comment below. I will try to answer the questions also. Maybe I missed something from my flow. And yeah, that's it, I would say. So here's what I want you to do after this video. Open your project, run /init, look at the Claude.md it generates, edit it down, add a settings.json, create 1 custom command, just 1 for now, and that should be your homework for this week. And once you see how much less time you spend correcting Claude, you will understand why this folder is the single highest leverage thing you can configure and you should configure. And I know many of us using Claude Code are not doing this at all because who has time for this, yes? But then we prefer to tweaking our model to make whatever we want. So now in the next video, I'm going to show you the advanced part of this folder, skills and sub-agents. Skills are workflows that Claude can invoke on its own without you typing a / command. And sub-agents, in a nutshell, are specialized personas you can spin up for things like code review or security audits. I've been using a lot of skills from Matt Pocock. I will link them below in the description, and I will show you exactly how they work and how to build your own skills. So make sure you don't miss that one. Click the like button, subscribe, that you will not miss the next part of this series. And if you want more stuff like this, AI workflows, developer tools, career strategies, I started to sending out a weekly newsletter where I share what's actually working for me right now. No fluff, just actionable stuff. You can sign up at denylnovoryta.com. Link is in the description. I will show you it also on the screen right now. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you get some value from this video. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.